Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second to last training. The second to last training. Next Monday will be our last basic training. I'm going to say it one more time. This is the second to last training. So you got this video, you get the next video, and then you all graduate. I wish I had like I actually do. What do you call those the boards with all the sounds for DJs? I would have put the clap right there, the clap audio. Um, I'm in a jokester mood. I'm feeling so unserious today. And I'm also kind of sniffly, which is called for with this weather. I hope everybody's taking care of themselves. I feel like my voice is even a little deeper today. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're taking your teas, making your. I have like this garlic honey situation that I made a month ago. It takes a month for it to um in order for it to turn into medicine, like a cough syrup. But basically, I put some garlic cloves, I think a half or a whole red onion, a few cloves, and I put them in a jar. And then I filled the jar up with honey, like all the way to the top. And I let all of that sit and ferment for a month. So I've been taking some of that. Um, so hopefully I feel better soon. If you know somebody who's a holistic guru, reach out to them because they be knowing. All right. I love me a holistic guru, babe. They be knowing. If you are somebody who also struggles with, this is off topic, if you're somebody who also struggles with the sad seasonal depression, I would highly suggest reaching out to a holistic guru, Bay, because I recently got my hands on some oat straw. I love oat straw. I use it. I drink it every winter. Oat straw is my thing. That's my number one thing to take care of my nervous system, to make sure that my nerves are calm, because they can be like, is this on? I don't even remember if I turned it on. Your nerves, me personally, my nerves, they get out of whack when when I don't go outside for walks under the sun, when I'm not social. There's is a change that I'm fully aware of, and I do not like to ignore it. So get you what you need, and let's get started. Today we're going to talk about curiosity. On this basic training, we're going to talk about curiosity. Curiosity is hella important, and I'm sure you probably can already guess why. As an artist, curiosity is important as fuck. But I'm noticing that um we aren't staying curious. By we, I like to, even though I like to put community in a bunch, right? Um, and I do that because even though I could be curious, right? But then I go out to my friends group and they are not curious. And so then together we won't be talking about curious things. Did that make sense? You know what I'm saying? I like to talk of us as a group because we're not, existing on this planet individually. Um, and it's not to categorize groups, right? I'm not putting labels on groups, but I'm just saying, if I'm being curious, but my homies aren't being curious, then we aren't being curious. You know what I mean? Because also then I'm not introducing curious thought and curiosity to my friends group, right? Um, and that may or may not be my responsibility. You may or may not feel like that's your responsibility. And nothing really is, right? Or isn't. Uh, but you gotta state the facts, right? If y'all not being curious together, y'all not being curious. So we're gonna talk about curiosity, right? Um, and I think the first point that I want to make, right, is that when you are going out somewhere, when you are creating something new, when you are joining a new environment, experiencing something new, right? Curiosity is there to tell you that you have no idea how that thing will go, right? And staying curious is simply just acknowledging, hey, I have no idea how this is going to go, right? Instead of trying to fill in, you know, the unknown, telling yourself, like, I really have no idea how this is going to go, lets you remain open to all the possibilities of how something can go, right? Yes, we make patterns unconsciously, right? We do make patterns. As human beings, um, we are designed to make patterns, right? For survival. That's our survival instincts, right? We're designed to make patterns. If you see something, multiple times, you're going to say that that is how things are, right? To protect you. If, if you're experiencing a negative experience when you go to a certain, place, your mind is going to make that, and that happens every time. You are going to say that is a pattern, and that's a pattern that you should pay attention to protect you, right? But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about experiences that you really never had. And I think you also have to be honest with yourself, right? About experiences that you've never had, right? I go to, I'm gonna say, for example, I go to um a spiritual gathering once a year, right? It's the same organization, but it's not always the same people, right? So even though I know it's the same organization, I already know it's not going to be the same people. It's also not always in the same place, right? And so even though it's the same organization and I know it's always spiritual, I have no idea how it's going to go down every year, right? And I allow myself to remain curious. I allow myself to be honest about that, because then what can happen, at least for me, I will start making predictions and I'll ruin my own experience that way, right? I'll ruin my own experience that way, right? Let's say I'll highlight, and another thing that we do as people is that we highlight negative experiences. That's something that we just do. We highlight negative experiences. So let's say out of the 3 years that I've been going, I'm highlighting one negative experience every year. I'm not allowing myself uh to see all of the one, I deleted all the positive experiences, right? But also I'm not allowing myself to I'm not allowing myself the permission to experience something different because I have this one small thing that happened. I'm talking about, let's say it's a small thing. If it's a big thing, like someone disrespected your whole existence, and there was no accountability, then that's something to consider. But if let's say my bad experience was, I went to this state and my hotel wasn't ready on time. If I take that moment into every year, I'm gonna ruin my experience every year. I might as well not go. I might as well not go, right? Because I'm already anticipating a negative experience. So we really don't know how things are gonna go, and giving ourselves permission and being like, hey, I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm open, right? And also you can set intentions, right? I'm not only open to experience the experience I'm gonna have, but I'm open to experiencing new friendship. I'm open to experiencing new business relations, new business partners, right? That will open your eyes and start looking for the things that you actually want, right? And also, when I'm sure that you've heard, like, anything is possible. I have air quotes on for those who are just listening. Anything is possible. Obviously there are, like, physical limitations, right? We cannot grow wings and fly, right? But we can get in an airplane. Um I truly do believe that anything is possible. You really don't know how things are going to go. And I think anything is possible just because you don't know how it's going to go. If I go to work every day, I have the same uniform form on, I go to work in the same place, I go to the same building every day, but I don't know how it's going to go. I have no idea, right? And it's true. One day I went to work and um I had to escort the Brat and Jermaine Dupri. That was so random. That's not something that I would have said today. I'm going to go to work and I'm going to go see some celebrities, like some hip hop legends, if you really want to be honest. Never. And that's not, I don't know about their character at all. I'm just talking about their artistry. um, I did not wake up that day and say, hey, today I'm going to experience this, right? I just said to myself, and I do this every time, I don't know how things are going to go, but I hope they go well. Um, so open yourself up to multiple possibilities. And if you're up to it, if you're up for it, set an intention for um your day's positive experiences. I like to do that in the morning. I think that I spoke about that last training. I like to set a little intention in the morning. Um and yeah, that helps regulate me when I start to drift off to trying to remember negative experiences. I That helps me like recenter, right? Like today I set the intention that I was gonna grow my business a little bit. And so I'm gonna do that, right? Instead of being like, oh damn, I haven't had an order in a month, right? No. I set the intention that I'm gonna grow it and that's that. Um so yeah, that's curiosity when it comes to new experiences, right? I next want to talk about curiosity when it comes to how things work, okay? So how things work. Social media seems to be the new education system, which is a blessing and a curse. A blessing, the upsides, you get to learn things from different people from all over the world. You, another upside, you get to learn niche things like how to build my traps. Not only how to go to the gym, how to build my traps, exercises for my lats, right? How to cook vegan. You get to learn niche things, right? The downside, you have to actually want to learn those things to find them. No one's going to give you the curriculum, right? And I think that that's a mistake that we're making. We're just scrolling through the curriculum that's being given to us, that's being targeted to us, because we just scroll and we're not thinking about what did I even want to learn? What did I even want to put my own energy towards, right? What curriculum am I signing up for that I didn't sign up for, right? And what new curriculum do I want to build for myself, right? And so I think that because we are just going off of the curriculum of the algorithm, I noticed that when I have conversations with others, there is a lack of curiosity around how things work. Um, and I'm not talking like how a blender works. I'm saying like how does the earth work, right? How does gravity work? Um, how does the body work? I recently saw a movie, right? What was the movie? Leave the World Behind. For those of y'all who haven't seen it, I won't spoil it. But there's a part where they're talking about satellites, right? Again, I'm not gonna spoil it. If you want to go watch it, go watch it. There's a part where they're talking about satellites, and I've never asked myself how many satellites are in the sky, right? So you know that everything works via satellite, right? When you make a phone call from your phone, it doesn't go directly from your phone to another phone. Instead, the signal gets sent to a satellite, and then back down to the other phone, right? No technology works unless you're using Bluetooth from device to device. If you're using Wi-Fi, if you're using the internet, the signal goes first from your phone to a satellite in the sky and then back down to whichever phone, whichever laptop, whichever device it is that you want to connect to, even if it's in the same house, right? So and keep that in mind, okay? So I'm like, how many satellites are up there? I've never asked myself how many satellites are up there. There are a lot of us using the internet. There are a lot of us, a lot of countries, a lot of parts of the world using the internet, right? The majority of the world uses the internet. And every time I see like a movie or even like one of those documentaries about Earth, I always see like one or two satellites floating, right, in space. Well, it turns out that there are over 7,000 satellites in space. There are over 7,000 of those things floating in space. And that caught me off guard. That's something that I really didn't know. That's something that I really didn't even think about, right? Um, and it kind of tripped me out because I'm like, damn, it hasn't even been that long since we sent the first one. Let me actually look that up. When was the first satellite? It hasn't even been that long um since we've started sending satellites into space. The first one was in 1957. And we already have over seven. That was like 7,400 and some. But now we have almost 7,000 of those. It's like that didn't make me feel comfortable. Especially when there are things like asteroids, especially since there are rocks literally floating around Earth. Not to scare anybody, right? I'm sorry if this is a phobia of yours. You're free to clock out, right? But you're free to turn this video off. However, for those of you who do decide to stay, especially when there are rocks floating around Earth so close, I'm like, one of those things could hit a satellite and it's over, right? But that's the importance of staying curious. Now I know, right? And if, ever anything goes down, have a little bit of knowledge, right? Also, being curious about how your own body works is very important, right? What are, the functions? Like, why do you have to sleep, right? Why do you have to go to the bathroom? Why do you go to the bathroom so often? What does it mean when your urine is a certain color? These are things that are important, right? Because the less curious we are, the more dependent we are, right? The less curious you are, if you don't know why your urine is a certain color, you're going to be afraid and paranoid, and you're going to depend on, you know, a doctor. Or if you're afraid to go to the doctor, you're not going to go. And then some, it's just staying curious about how your body functions helps you be responsible for your own body, right? It assists you in that way, right? Like, why? Let's see what happened to me recently. I had a headache, right? Like a month ago. It's funny because I had a headache this morning. I had a headache like a month ago. It was like 2 days. I didn't hit my head on anything. Everything was fine. I was going to the gym, and my first clue was to look at my water bottle. I have this like half a gallon. Is it a full gallon? I think it's like a half or a full gallon. I don't remember. I think it's a full gallon bottle of water, and it also has numbers, like it measures how much water is in it, right? And I looked at it and I was like, I had no water. I didn't drink any water for 2 days. That's probably why I have a headache. You know what I mean? I drank some water and I was fine. You know, sometimes I have a headache. My lover sometimes has a headache when they don't have caffeine, right? but they're curious about their body enough to pick up those signs, right? Staying curious about your body is very important, especially if you're gonna make art. You cannot make your art if you're not here. I think that's something that I say every class. If you're not here, you can't make the art. So stay curious. Your phone can only work for you if you are using it in that way, right? Um, and not the other way around, right? Because you can definitely be working for your phone. I say this all the time. We be working for Instagram, right? Because Instagram wouldn't exist without our content, and we just be working for free. And they making dough. They're making money, right? It's the same with the phone. All right. You want to be able to use it, and not the other way around. That's what I got for curiosity. Actually, let me think if I have anything else. I think we're on 15 minutes right now. Curiosity. I think curiosity is also important when it comes to your art, because when you're curious about things and you study that thing that you're curious about, like just Google it, you have more things to pull from to make your art, right? Um, yeah, right. Let's say if you are making a sculpture and you're curious about, you know, I was gonna make a sculpture of uh, I guess I'll say it because I'm not gonna make it anymore. Well, I have made it in the past. I was just gonna make it again. And I throw away my art. I've something that I've noticed, right? Off topic. I throw away my art. Or I have thrown away my art when I moved to this new apartment from New York. I threw away all my paintings, my sculptures. I threw away everything. Um, and I feel bittersweet about it because I love that I came here and I said new slate, you know, starting over, and not bringing that energy in here, but also it would have been nice to at least take photos of them. So that's the thing. That's the part that I messed up. I didn't take photos of my art. And so, it would be good for me to look at, the way that I was processing things before, right? That's okay. We're here now. I'm making art. I painted something. I made sculptures, or I was making sculptures. I made ashtrays. I'm making clothes. I'm making things now that I can look back to later on. Um, but all that to say, when you stay curious about things and you look them up, you have more things to pull from, right? You have, more, you know, that's what I was gonna say. I was making a sculpture in a glass bottle, and I started to research the origin of that glass bottle, where it was made. And then I found that it was very much tied to um, what I was going to put in it. I was going to put concrete in it, and I was going to look up where concrete came from. And then I was also curious to know what concrete means, right? What does glass mean? And you can incorporate that once you're learning more. You can incorporate that in your own understanding of what you're making, right? And it expands the meaning of that thing that you made, right? My lover is a singer songwriter, and I know they're listening. So let's say for somebody like that, if you're writing lyrics, and let's say you find a favorite flower, and you look up where that flower is from or what that flower means, you can now incorporate that in your bars, right? There's so much richness in staying curious. There's yeah, there's a whole world to unlock when we stay curious. So that's my advice for you this week. Stay curious. I love y'all. And until next week, um, this has been great. This has been great. I love the feedback. Some of y'all I see in person, like in the street, and y'all be telling me you love this. And that really motivates me to get back on this and do it again. Um, so yeah, next week, I'm not entirely sure how we're gonna wrap it up, but I'm thinking of having some sort of exercise that you can do afterwards on your own, and send you off that way. All right, y'all. Peace.